back to the Geeks 911 show. I'm your host, Geeks. Today, we are going to be talking about PTSD and the relationships it has to sleep apnea. Now, this is going to be a very informative podcast. I want to put this information out there. I didn't know any other way to do it. I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there that are suffering from the two disorders here, PTSD and sleep apnea. And it's very frustrating to me because I know I have a sense of exactly what I needed to do in order to be compensated for both my PTSD and my sleep apnea. Now, I was diagnosed with sleep apnea back about 3 years ago, and I actually conducted the portable sleep study. The portable sleep study was conducted at the VA. So I actually went to the VA and I did the sleep study. They actually hand you over a machine, a device that you take it home with you, and then you sleep with it, and then about a week or so, they have the results ready for you. So anyway, I was diagnosed. And upon being diagnosed with that, I went ahead and filed for compensation. Now, I was already outside of the military, so that was a big difference, because if you're in and you're diagnosed with sleep apnea, then of course you're going to get the disability for it because it occurred while you were in service. So being out of service is there's a little bit more footwork that you have to do, okay? And I was diagnosed with it, and I filed, and they denied it, okay? And I was like just totally shocked. I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense to me. How could I be denied disability for sleep apnea if the study was done at the VA? And I know there's a lot of head scratching going on. I myself was confused. I was discombobulated. I didn't even know where to start. I didn't even know where to begin. So I started asking questions. I went online and I started looking at sleep apnea and, how it's caused and so forth. And I didn't really find a lot of information. I mean, there's a lot of information out there, but it was very broad because it talked about civilians and so forth. So I just wanted to really hone in on veterans and how, we develop sleep apnea when we're in the military or in war-torn situations or whatever. So did a little bit more research, and I came across a friend of mine that actually had a lot of information. So anyway, I didn't at that time have a PTSD diagnosis. So I actually will talk about that in another podcast. It's a totally separate podcast to talk about the PTSD, but I'm also diagnosed with PTSD as well. So once I got the diagnosis with PTSD, then I went into the process of filing another claim refiling my claim for sleep apnea. This time it was approved, okay? It was approved. It was not denied. And I was approved at 50%. I was rated at 50%. So let me tell everyone out there that in the system, in the VA, you have to have a VA form number. You have to, okay? You cannot have a piece of paper or, your notes from the doctor or whatever. Everything has to be done on a form, okay? And the form that I took or I used was the VA form 21-0960 Lima-2, okay? This is the form that you're going to be using for your sleep apnea diagnosis. It's a questionnaire, okay? So basically, once I was diagnosed with PTSD, I then took my VA form 21-0960 Lima-2 to my sleep apnea appointment, okay? And the friend of mine that brought this to my attention told me, hey, all you need to do is hand the doctor on duty this form and they will fill it out for you. Now, to me, it was very ironic. I was like, really? Just hand the doctor the form and he'll know exactly what to do? And that was the case. So on this form, I'm going to show you everything that the doctor filled out for me, okay? I didn't fill this information out. He actually put this information on the form. Okay, and within the VA structure, within the system, everything is done by ICD code, okay? These are the codes that are used to set diagnosis, okay? And it gives you the diagnosis type. So on the form, when you pull it up, it's going to provide only diagnosis that pertain to sleep apnea and check diagnosis type. So this is the code. So this is the code that was written down, G47.33. Now, people, take that in mind. You want to highlight that, or you want to maybe write that down, because you're going to want to do some research on that code. I did a little bit of research on the code, and when I actually put it up on Google, I wasn't able to get any farther than just looking at it. And it did have to do with sleep apnea and, things that obstruct your breathing and so forth. But you have to log in order to get more information. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical physician. And I'm not claiming to be a medical physician or a doctor.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
And I'm also not claiming to be a lawyer. I just want to put that out there. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. And this is just experiences that I had. And this is what I did to get my disability for sleep apnea. Okay. Just want to put that out there right off the cuff. The doctor filled out this information. And then here's another code here, F33.41. And then it says post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. So you definitely want to look at this code, and you definitely want to look at this code, because these two codes are very important, and you can find out a little bit more information about it. Again, if you look up the G47.33, you're not gonna really get a whole lot. You can go online and search for it, but it's not gonna go that much in detail. Okay, and then of course here you can look up that code. I didn't really do a whole lot with this code, but it says post-traumatic stress disorder, so that's what was put on my form. And then the doctors put here his snoring, tiredness, and witness apneas during sleep dating back to military service. So again, I was already out of the military, and this is what the doctor wrote, because he understood as well as I did that I was not in the military. I was not active duty. I was not on active duty. Okay. The next thing he had put here was, is continuous medication required for control of a sleep disorder condition? He put no. Does the veteran require the use of a breathing assistant device, such as a continuous positive airway pressure machine, CPAP machine? Yes. And then here he put, does the veteran currently have any finding, signs, or symptoms attributed to sleep apnea? Yes. Persistent daytime hypersomnodosis, or whatever that is. I'm not a doctor, so I can't pronounce some of these words. So sorry about that. And then the next section here is other pertinent physical findings, complications, condition, signs, and or symptoms. Okay. And of course here, there is none. And then here, does the veteran, now this is a key here, key 4B, does the veteran have any other pertinent physical finding, complication, condition, signs, and or symptoms related to any conditions listed in the diagnosis section? Okay. Here's the kicker here. Service connected diagnosed PTSD. Okay. Now, this is the kicker here that's going to actually tie the two together, and that's going to get you your rating for sleep apnea. Okay. Now, in order to get that, other than being in the military and being diagnosed with it without being diagnosed with PTSD, because if you're in the military again and you're diagnosed with sleep apnea, you will get your percentage for sleep apnea. Okay. If you're outside of the military and you're diagnosed with sleep apnea, but you don't have a PTSD diagnosis, they will deny you. Okay. Because there's no connection to as how you got the sleep apnea. Okay. So that's the key there, people. You have to be able to link it to PTSD. Okay. That is one of the ways that I know of that you're going to get your diagnosis for sleep apnea. Okay. Now moving right along. Okay. 4B, service connected diagnosis with PTSD. Okay. Now we go further down here on the form. VA form 21-0960 Lima-2. Okay, keep that in mind, because I know a lot of you out there are going to be like, whoa, this is unreal. I can't believe that I'm seeing this right now. Yes, believe it, okay? Because the information is there, and it's not going to be given to you freely. Okay, you're going to have to search for this information. You're going to have to do the research, because the VA and everybody else is not going to do it for you. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so here he put, has a sleep study been performed? Yes. If yes, does the veteran have documented sleep disorder breathing? Yes. Okay, and the results are here: moderate obstructive sleep apnea, and then it has the little code here at 86%. Okay. So I guess this percentage here is, the sleep study that it done. And I guess there's a percentage that they round up and whatever. So I didn't really understand that. I have to actually look into that. I didn't really have a lot of information on that. But are there any other symptoms or significant diagnosed test findings and other results? No. Okay. Here we go, people. Are you ready? Drum roll. Drum roll. Can you do a drum roll? This here is the most important section on this VA form 21-0960 Lima-2. This is the most important section on this VA form 21-0960 Lima-2. Okay. Let me show you guys what it is. The doctor wrote, veteran with confirmed OSA, obstructive sleep apnea, diagnosis currently treated with positive airway pressure therapy. It is possible, or at least as likely than not, 50% or greater probability that obstructive sleep apnea is associated with or due to service-connected PTSD diagnosis. Did you all hear that? Okay. And this is a study that they have done. The VA, Veterans Health Administration, has already done this study. Okay. And I'm going to show you some of the PDF documentation that they have done that links sleep apnea to PTSD. Okay. And once you get this information here, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be diagnosed with PTSD. Sleep apnea. Okay. And you're going to get a percentage for it. However, a direct causal relationship cannot be definitively ascertained. Okay, that's what the doctor wrote. And then here's the studies, okay, that he put in the remarks section. Now, me, being the kind of person that I am, I said, hey, let me go ahead and highlight the first row, or actually the first row, and do a Google search on it, which I did, okay? And this is what I came up with, people. Here is, let me move this out the way. And let me move this out the way so you guys can see it clearly, okay? Here is a sleep disorder breathing study done by the Association of Psychiatric Disorder and Sleep Apnea in a large cohort, okay? And this is the most important part here. This is the conclusion here. And I highlighted the most important parts because I wanted everyone to understand exactly the study. Now, you're going to have to actually pull this up, and I will leave the link in the description below so that everyone can see where this information was pulled from and so forth, okay? So there it is. And again, on the form, it's the Association of Psychiatric Disorder. So it's right there. It's right there. And the conclusion here, and this is, again, a study that was done by the Veterans of Health. Here, study objectives. Here we go. Let's read it. We conducted the present study to determine whether psychiatric disorders are commonly associated with sleep apnea in Veterans Health Administration beneficiaries. And the conclusion from that was sleep apnea is associated with a higher prevalence of psychiatric comorbid conditions in Veterans Health Administration beneficiary. The association suggests the patients with psychiatric disorders and coincident symptoms suggesting sleep disorder breathing should be evaluated for sleep apnea. So these studies have been already conducted, okay? And I've been online multiple times, and I've seen that they're doing studies, they're looking at studies, and they cannot find any, there's a lot of chasing around the block going on online, okay? And you're not giving the information. Now, I only got this information because the doctor had put it in the remarks section on this VA form. I would have never found this information, okay? This information is not privy to you at all, okay? It's not going to be it's going to be online, but you're going to have to search. And you see how I would have never found this. I would have had to dig for years to find this, okay? So anyway, the United States Veterans Health, VHA, okay? You're going to see that later on in this article here, okay? So read through this article. It is very interesting, and it just shows you the relationship with PTSD and sleep apnea. It is there. Okay, and it is prevalent in veterans all around the country, okay? Veterans in the Vietnam era, World War I, World War II, so the Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Afghanistan, it's prevalent, okay? And you can read the outpatient files, okay? In 1997, VAH began recording diagnoses made during each outpatient encounter in the outpatient file. Using a unique identifier, Social Security and individuals can be tracked through the different files of the patient treatment file and the outpatient file to obtain a complete record of encounters in the system. So there's a lot of information here, and I would really recommend that anybody that is going after or trying to file for sleep apnea, do your research, okay? Now, this is for people that are already outside of the service, okay, that have PTSD, and then they're going after, if you have PTSD, I would recommend that you do a sleep study, because the majority of people that have PTSD are more than likely going to suffer from sleep apnea, okay? I'm not overweight by any means because they associate it with obesity and being, overweight and so forth. I'm not overweight. I'm in pretty good physical condition. Okay. I worked out all my life. I've eaten pretty healthy, but I've come down with PTSD, or not, I've come down with sleep apnea. So that right there is, how does that happen? Okay. How does that happen? And I don't have a family history of sleep apnea. Nobody in my family is overly obese or overweight. So, it's very, very, it's just one of those things, it's just one of those things that come up. Okay. Anyway, so, just read this article here. It's going to give you all the information here, this study, okay? It's going to break it down to the number of depressions, anxiety, PTSD, alcohol dependence, psychosis, bipolar. I mean, everything is here, okay? And this study was conducted years ago, okay? Here they have November 11th of 2005. I mean, there's a lot of information here, people, okay? The next one that we're going to be looking at is the sleep distribution among returning combat veterans, okay? Okay, and this study was done in 2011. The first one was done in 2005, okay? And let's go to that one. I pulled that one up as well. And look at this, people. Look at this, 2011 right here, just to verify it, okay? And the introduction here, I'm going to read it because I want to read it. There's a lot of people that probably don't like reading. I don't really like reading that much, but when I find information out and I know that it's going to be helpful to other people, other veterans, my brothers and sisters in arms, I'm going to read it, okay? And I don't have any issue or problem reading it whatsoever, okay? Introduction, okay? And let me just show you here again. Sleep disruptions among returning combat veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan. There you go, okay? And here's the people here. I guess this article here, in association with these individuals here. And it has all the abstract information here. But anyway, the current conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan have involved U.S. military personnel in combat, hazardous security duty, and stressful and non-combatant roles that have, by necessity, changed their individual sleep-wake cycles during months of deployment. Emerging evidence suggests that combat exposure may have deleterious effects on sleep among returning veterans. One recent study surveyed 2,525 soldiers returning from Iraq and showed that approximately 30% reported complaints of sleep disturbance even 3 to 4 months after their arrival back in the United States following their tour of duty. Moreover, the rates were even higher among those reporting a head injury, with as much as 58.3% of soldiers reporting sleep problems. If they had experienced a head injury with loss of consciousness, some evidence suggests that sleep problems may even worsen with time, as some samples of veterans from the Vietnam War have rates of sleep disturbance as high as 90% or more. And that's from all that bombing, all that shell shock, okay, all that those bombs that have been going off day in and day out, night in and night out, indirect fire, that rattles your brain. Believe it or not, it rattled mine, okay? It rattled mine. Hearing gunfire every single day, hearing detonations every single day, not only from the insurgents, but from us, because when we find the arsenal of weapons and artillery, they blew it up. So you're constantly hearing this every single day, and it's pounding on your brain every day, in and out, with no relief. Okay? How can you sleep? Of course you're going to have sleeping disorders. Okay? Although it is clear that sleep problems are elevated among returning combat veterans, etiology and nature of these disturbances remain poorly understood. Most studies of sleep disorders in this population have focused on veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, a debilitating anxiety disorder characterized by symptoms of hyperarousal, avoidance, and re-experiencing. Recent estimates suggest that rates of probable PTSD often range from about 5% to 20%, but may reach as high as 33% to 39% of returning combat veterans, according to some studies. Okay, this is a lot of information here, and these are percentages, okay? These are studies that were conducted, okay, years ago, and they know that there's effects on the brain, okay, traumatic effects that occur, which cause disturbances of sleep, which can also cause sleep apnea, okay? People, read through these documents, and I'm going to provide it in the link below. You have to read this. When you read this, you'll have an understanding of what you're experiencing. If you have PTSD, and then 9 times out of 10, I say you go and get tested, get a portable sleep study done, and get that done as well, so you can know exactly what's going on. Because I'm telling you, I've had bouts where I was sleeping, okay, and I wake up choking, like somebody had their hand around my neck, okay, and I've had several episodes of that, and it was very scary. I could not breathe. I could not catch my breath. I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know who I was. and I was choking, and I was laying on my stomach. Okay, and I thought it was spit going down my windpipe, but no, people, that is sleep apnea. Okay, and what happens is you stop breathing at night. While you sleep, you stop breathing, and it can be anywhere from 30 seconds on upwards to a minute in some cases. So very serious condition. I would tell anybody that's suffering from PTSD that's out of the service to go get a sleep study done. Okay, because you do not realize it. You may have sleep apnea, and you may be able to be compensated for it. Okay, compensation is one thing, but getting the proper treatment for it is another thing, because life is important. And in saying that, I have to definitely get back on mine. It's a very uncomfortable device to use. Okay, it's very uncomfortable, but it's needed. It's needed. So, this one's a pretty long and extended one, and it has a lot of information. It's on both men and women. It's not just about men. It's on the effects that sleep apnea has on both men and women. Okay. And then it has the tables here. Look at the tables as well, people. Okay, look at the tables as well, because the tables have a lot of information in there. Okay, and you can also Google all this information here to find out exactly what these these symbolize and what they mean. Okay, you don't have to be a doctor or a scientist or a medical professional or a lawyer to understand that. Okay, and here's all the tables here. I'm not going to read through everything. I did read through it, and it was very, very informative, and it kind of enlightened me on exactly what my, diagnosis meant, and, the things that are going on with my body. So, but yeah, there it is, people. Okay. So again, before I close this out, take this over to your sleep apnea. If you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea, okay, and you haven't been diagnosed with PTSD, okay, and this is only going to work if you've been diagnosed with PTSD, okay, then you do your sleep study. If you get diagnosed with sleep apnea, then this is the form that you would give the doctor at your next appointment or appointment. You just take this in, and they know exactly what to do with it. Say, hey, doc, I need this to be filled out. I have PTSD, and here you go. And they should know what to do with it, okay? And again, this is the information here. And if you get a problem, print these PDFs out and take it with you, okay? Print these PDFs out and take it with you. Show the doctor. Show them that you know what's going on, okay? Show them that you're not an idiot, okay? Because you're tired of playing the runaround game and being told go here and go there, and you're going online and searching, you can't find the information. Bring this to them. Print it off. Okay, this is 7 pages. This one's 10 pages. Okay, put it in a manila folder or a folder and take it to your next sleep apnea appointment with the form right here. Okay, and they'll know that you know exactly what's going on. And, to me, it upsets me because people are suffering. Okay, we went to war. We served our country. We did what we needed to do in combat. Okay, and coming home and having to deal with and experience all this, and you're scared and you don't know exactly what's going on with your body and with your mind is crazy. Okay, and then they're telling you, no, it's this, no, it's that, no, you're suffering from personality disorders and all that. That's another thing. That's another topic in itself. I didn't even want to get into that one right now, because I know a few people that been diagnosed with personality disorders that should have been diagnosed with PTSD. Okay. And I know you hear the anger in my voice, because it angers me, because I'm hearing these stories and I'm seeing it happen in this present day as I speak. Millions of frustrated veterans around the country wanting the care, wanting the help, wanting the medical advice so that they can do the right thing for themselves and get the care that they need. They have families out there. They have kids. Okay. And the constant runaround is ridiculous. Okay. But anyway, I don't want to make it too personal. That's just my thought and my feelings about it. Okay. And really, people, I really would love for people to leave a comment. Definitely like this podcast or this video, because this is going to push it up on that YouTube algorithm that they got going on. Okay. And it's going to show more veterans out there exactly what they need to do and the paths that they need to take. It's all about documentation and ICD codes, diagnosis codes, people, or veterans, my fellow veterans. And just handing the doctor a slip or just going in and talking about your problems is not enough. It's not enough, and it's not going to get you the care that you need or the benefits that you're entitled to. Okay? This is what's going to get you the benefits that you're entitled to, these VA forms, knowing what your ICD codes are. Okay. And there's a lot of them out there. There's a ton of them out there for all different types. Looking at your CFR 38, which is what the VA uses to diagnose you with whatever disability that you're going after. That's what they go by. It's a guideline. Okay. But in closing, please, if you're a veteran out there and you're suffering with sleep apnea, PTSD, this is the information that you need. And it's going to take you far because documentation is a son of a bitch, I'm telling you. And once you have the proper documentation, once you have the proper VA form numbers, they can't do anything to you. They have to give you that disability. Okay? They have to. It's by law, they have to. Okay? So again, print this out, and I'll provide the link in the description below. Print this out. Print this out. Okay, and there's another one it wasn't a PDF, it was actually an article, and I'll show you here on the very bottom here. The last one here is an actual article on the bottom here, right here. High rate of comorbid insomnia. Okay, and the comorbid is let me just tell you what that means. Okay, comorbid psychiatric. What is it here? It says, what is comorbid psychiatric disorder? So basically, comorbidity describes two or more disorders or illnesses occurring in the same person. Okay, and look, it's in here. Okay, that's the word that was put in there, and that's what the doctor wrote. I didn't write that. The doctor wrote that. Okay, and it's a disorder. Comorbidity describes two or more disorders or illnesses occurring in the same person. They can occur at the same time or one after the other. Comorbidity also implies interaction between the illness that can worsen the course of both. And this was August 1st of 2018. This was last year. This is what this disorder. This is what it means. Okay, and I'll put that down in the description as well, so you can understand what the terminology they're using in here means. Okay. So people, again, you don't need a lawyer. Okay. Lawyers are there. They're going to get their cut. Lawyers are going to make money regardless. It's the veterans that are out there struggling and suffering because we're on a fixed income. Some of us are. Okay. So understand what some of these terminologies mean. If you don't know what the word is, look it up. Okay. I did. And I just gave you the definition of it right there. So in closing, let me get out of here for real. In closing, if you or anybody that you know, a veteran is suffering from PTSD, there's a PTSD Veterans Crisis Line. You can call it at 1-800-272-8255. And you can also reach out to the ptsd.va.gov website. And that's where I get all my information from. I do not go out to these third link, fourth link website, these backlinks. Anything that I do, I always make sure that there's a va.gov behind it because that is where the information is going to be coming from that is up to date. Okay, I would advise anybody that is researching or doing any types of research to relay back to the va.gov website to see if it is the correct information. Okay, because information may not be correct out there, or you may be looking at a lawyer's site. They may be trying to pull you in to have you file through them and so forth. So you definitely want to make sure that you're going through the va.gov website. Okay, and I'm not knocking the VA or anything, but I'm just showing all of my fellow veterans, all of my brothers and sisters in arms, what you need, the tools you need to be successful in your claims. Okay. To be successful in your claims. So that's pretty much it, you know, and I like, again, I tried not to make this too long, but it got a little personal. I felt a little, you know, I felt some type of way, and I thought I would just give it to you guys, you know, because I suffer from both PTSD and sleep apnea, and it's at the worst, believe it or not. So anyway, in closing, I also think there's another website that you should check out. It's called Rally Point, okay? And I know a lot of you are wondering, what is Rally Point? So Rally Point is the premier digital platform for the military community to come together and discuss military topics both socially and professionally. Our members include military service members, veterans, family members, caregivers, survivors, and supporters of those in uniform. Rally Point connects members and provides tools to succeed along their entire lifetime journey, from recruit through retirement and beyond. Members build peer-to-peer relationships across branches, generations, and conflicts forged by the common bond of service. Within the community, members can build their professional network, ask questions, share photos and stories, connect with members in a secure environment, and explore educational and career opportunities. So if any veterans out there that do not know about Rally Point, it is definitely a network to be a part of. There's veterans in there. There's current service members in there. I mean, it has a multitude of information, and I highly recommend, if you are a veteran, to sign up for an account and get access and see what's going on, present and past. So anyway, I'm going to close this out. Thank you everyone for joining in today. If you thought this video or podcast was informative, please let me know. Leave a comment, a like. And also, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel today. I have a lot more information where this come from, people. I just cannot hold it inside of myself and have this information and know there's other veterans out there suffering. So I put it out there for you all. So anyway, peace, love, and harmony in 2019 and beyond. This is the Geeks 911 show. Thanks again for joining me. And until next time, people, peace.
Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Do you have what it takes to serve with the best? Tune in and get the information you have been searching for all over the web. Do you have questions on how to file a VA claim? What you should know while you're serving in the U.S. military? Or just want to know about the lifestyle? Tune in to get the real deal.